Hello everyone, welcome back to Conarchy YouTube channel. In our previous video, we started with our modeling of this structure where we learned how to place our beams and our columns in their allocated places. In today's video, we are just going to continue with the same thing but quite different. We are going to learn how to model a staircase. That's this staircase. And looking at this, the direction where you are going to climb the staircase is in this direction. So we are going to move from here, then to this landing, then move upwards to the next floor. So we are going to assign loads to our various structures in our previous video, in our next videos. So don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And if there's anything you want to know, just comment or bring my mind on to just leave a comment in the comment section. Let's try to interact with each other, and we are just going to make it fun. So let's get started. So first of all, as usual, you just have to open your Etabs app, and this is the model we've been working on. If you do not have this model, or this is your first time watching this video, just try to watch our previous or our past videos and you'll know how to model this. And once you are here, you can just continue with the design of the staircase. So let's get into it. So with this, we are just going to model this staircase. So we are not going to be looking at these sections of the building. So let's just work in one window. So I have to close this window. Let me close this window so it will be much larger. So I'm just going to be working at this portion where I didn't place a slab. So looking at this, there's no slab here because they are going to do model our staircase. So I didn't assign any slab to that area. So let's try to focus our attention here. So let's do something. So I'm just going to select all of these and I'm going to right click and show selected objects only. I just want to focus the attention on where I'll be modeling my stairs. So I'm just going to hide all these members, the slab, the columns, the various, and just show these ones, the ones I've selected where I'll be modeling my staircase. So show selected objects. But I should make sure that it's all stories, not just one story, because if it's just one story, to just select the second floor, the beams and columns in the second floor. So you should make sure it's in all stories before you do that. So let's go into our 3D view and look at how it looks like. So this is it. So this is the place we'll be modeling our staircase. But in modeling of this structure, we did this as a one full beam. So it's not a separate beam because when I selected this, I had to select this one too. So we have to break this beam into two in order to just get only the section where we'll be modeling our staircase. So let's just select this beam. Since it's at all stories, it's going to select the one at story 1, 2. So I'm just going to select this beam and divide it into two. So once we divide it into two, we just hide this section too, and we just focus our attention on this part where we'll be modeling our staircase. So as we've done before, we just go to edit, then edit frames, divide frames, and divide into two, then apply. So okay, so now my beam has been divided into two. So if I select this part, it just highlights this part of the beam. It's not a full beam now. So we just have to, we can now hide this entire section. So you can just select here and just right click and hide selected objects. So the first time we show selected objects only, but now we are just going to hide them. So we hide these ones, and now we just have our section we'll be modeling our staircase in. So this is the one we'll be needing. So let's go back to our drawing and just look at something. So looking at the plan of this structure, you can see that the direction of movement is from here, then upwards to the next or the upper story, and this is our landing. So the landing is like in between one story, so it's like in between the story. So we are just going to model, this landing, and we are just going to do the staircase too. So let's go back into our Etabs app. So first of all, how do we do that? This is our story 1 and this is our story 2. Let me change the view so you can actually see it properly. So we have story 1, first story, and our second story. And we know that the landing is in between. It's in the middle of the first story. Just like here too, it's in the middle. But it's at this side rather. So we are going to draw our landing here. We are going to model our landing here in the middle and also in the middle. So I want what to be done here to be replicated also at the upper story. So I'm going to leave this at all stories, not one story. So I'm going to leave it as such. And I'm going to divide this column into 2. I just want the division to be in the middle so that I can also like place another beam there where I can draw my landing. I can model my landing. So let's select this column. So like this one too is a 1 full column. So we can choose to also divide this one into 2. So now we have our division here. We've done the division. We've divided this column into 2, and it's also applied to the top. So this column too, we divided it into 2. So now we have our mid joints, our midpoints in the middle of these columns. So we have the midpoints here, another midpoint, another one. I think we don't need one here. Yeah, we don't need one here. So we can just join this one back. So you can just edit frame, join frame. So we've done that. So now we have our midpoints here. So now we can draw our landing. We can place our landing here. So first of all, we need to model a beam there. We have to put a beam at this place. So I'm just going to select beam. So we have our draw beam. So at this section, we can't use the quick draw beam, because when I pick the quick draw beam, I'll have to select a grid line or a grid line, but we don't have a grid line in between these joints. So I have to select this beam rather, the draw beam, the first option. Then I'll just join this, but I should make sure it's the property is the one we are using. That's our concrete column concrete beam that we created. So we have property here. So we have to just scroll down to look for our concrete beam that we created. That was B1. That was our beam we created. So B1. So B1. Then we just model our beam here. It's at all stories. So whatever I do here also replicates here. There, then escape. So now we have our beam, then we can draw our slab here. But we all know that when we are about to model a slab, we need 4 points to be able to model our slab. But here we just have 2 points here, just 2. There's no other points for me to draw a square slab. So we will need 2 other points. But how do we get that points now? So it's just something we can do. It's very simple. So draw, then we go to draw joint objects. So with this, we are just going to offset this point to a certain distance in the direction of either X, Y, or Z in their respective direction. So now we want our slab to be in this direction. And looking at this direction, we are in the Y direction. Y direction. So this is it, Y. And since the arrow is moving already here, and we want our slab to also, our point to also move in this direction, we don't need to negate the value. We just have to input the specific value there. So now we know that our landing is 1 meter, and 1 meter, our unit here is in millimeters. So we have to input our value in millimeters. So at plan offset Y, we just input the value 1000. since it's in millimeters, so 1000 millimeters, that's 1 meter. So after assigning the 1000 millimeters in the plan offset Y, there's one thing you should make sure of, that your working plane is not in none, because when it's in none, whatever you do here won't be like it won't show here. So rather it should either be like story 1 or story 2. But since it's in all story, whatever I do as story 1 will also replicate here, so it doesn't really matter. So either story 1 or story 2, but it shouldn't be in none. So 1000 millimeters in the Y direction, and we have our points here, and also another 1000 in the Y direction here. So now we have our 4 points now that we can draw our slab. So we can just hit escape and just select our slab. So just like the beam, we can't use this quick draw floor, because it's not really like you have your grid lines that you can just hit that grid lines and your slab will just appear there. But we have to use this one rather. So that's why I said I prefer these ones when designing or modeling of staircase. So now we just have to pick our slab. That's 180 mm. So this is it. So 180 mm slab. So after that, you just have to join these 4 points. Just like that, and also like this. So now I have this landing over here. So what else do I need to do? I need to also divide this part, because let's go back to our drawing. So this is it, but in between these two staircases, we have a little space here, tiny little space here. So let's say the space between these stairs and this staircase is like 200 mm. Okay, 200 mm. So from here to here to this staircase is 1400, and from here to here is 1400. That is going to give you 2800. So you are going to be left with 200 mm in the middle. So you just have to leave a small space in between here. So let's go back and do that in our app. So you also have to offset this point to like 1400 here and 1400 to this side too. And we also have to do the same over here. Since you'll be joining these joints, you join a slab straight from here to join these places. So you have to divide this place. So you have to offset these points too. So like draw joint objects, and this time it's in the X direction. You want it to be in the X direction. You want it to be in the X direction, that's in this direction. So we want it to be in this direction. So let's offset this point to X direction 1400. So we have our 1400 here. So 1400, we have that point. We also offset this one, so we have that also here. And we also do the same here. But since it's at all stories, whatever I do here will also replicate it. So we don't need to just be selecting the various frames. So I also need another point from 1400 to this part. And since it's in the opposite direction of X, you just have to negate this value. You have to just negate this value. Negative 1500. So, okay. And I just select this joint So I have this joint here and also another point here, and I also do the same for here. It's in all stories, so whatever I do here also replicates here. So now I have all my points to be able to draw my incline slab, because we know that our staircase too is a slab too. So I'm just going to, now we have all the points here to draw the slab. So all I have to do is select this draw floor. So the property is also 180 slab. You have to make sure it's the one that you define, the section you define, and that's what I've selected. So first of all, we just have to do this one. Okay, just from this point, let me zoom in for you to see very well. To this point and to the first point here. And to this point, then back to where we started. And now we have our first slab here. So this is our first slab. So this from moving down. So the movement is from down to this slab. Then another staircase is going to take you to the top floor. So that one, so I have to select this point and here. So I'm going to move upwards. Hope you are following very well. To this point, then to the first one. So you have 1.4 meters here. So we are on the right point, on the right joints. So here, then back to where we started. And there we have it. Our staircase, so simple as such. So now we have our staircase. So let me just rotate it for you to see in all angles. So there we have it. That's the staircase. So just movement is going to take place like from here to the landing, then upwards, then just like that. So that's it. That's very simple. Just how we model our staircase is very simple. So in our next video, we are going to do something a little bit different, but no, we are just modeling this structure. We are going to mesh our slab, and I also teach you why we have to mesh that slab, and we also have to assign our loads, our dead loads and live loads to this structure. We're also going to be talking about seismic and also wind loads. So our next video is going to be very interesting. So don't forget to subscribe just in case the video drops, you don't miss it. And also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and also leave a comment in the comment section so that we can just interact with each other. Thank you.